This is our zombie, and we need to be worried about the mouth area, but not just the mouth area, but also those arms, because if she can reach out and cuff you in, she can actually pull you closer to the mouth or scratch you or infect you in many different ways. Now, some common misconceptions about zombies. First is that they are stronger than the person they used to be, or in some way have superpowers. Our zombie cannot run faster than the former person they once were. They cannot jump higher. They're not going to leap over buildings and come to get you. Now, that being said, if you are being chased by a former track athlete zombie, you are going to need to run very quickly to get away from it. Second misconception is the brains myth. Zombies don't have any sort of desire for brains. They don't have a preference for it. There's nothing about the human brain that tastes any better than any other parts of your flesh. Also, the human bite force is not strong enough to crash or puncture through the skull to actually get two brains, unless, some sort of rock or something fell and cracked your skull to give them access. And lastly, that they even eat at all. Zombies aren't biting and attacking you to satiate some sort of actual nourishment, but I'll cover that in just a moment. So they actually don't have any functioning systems, no gastrointestinal system, no digestive tract, no respiratory system, no circulatory system. None of that is actually functioning anymore in a zombie host. Now, quick way to identify a zombie. This one's fairly fresh, so you're not getting that distinct smell of death on it. But you'll notice that the skin color, after a human dies, your skin is going to start to change colors. It's going to get pale, and then after long enough, it's going to actually start to change colors and rot away. And then lastly, movement. A zombie has no fine motor control. They're not able to really move in a normal way that a human would. They're going to be very crude in their movements. They're going to stumble around, and they're going to have trouble walking even. And then lastly, if you can get close enough, you'll notice the eyes and face. The eyes are going to cloud over as the corpse starts to rot. You bring her out a little bit because you'll see the eyes are starting to cloud over that's just through decomposition, because as I said, this is a decomposing human body here. And you'll see a lot of lesions on the face, and you'll see a lot of cuts around the mouth in particular, because when they're biting, they're going to bite with whatever they can, and eventually they're just sort of going to tear up their mouths. But if you're getting close enough to the eyes and face to identify it, you better turn around and run, because you're getting way too close to a potential threat. Some of the physiology. It is a viral infection. That is what's spreading the zombie disease. This is not some mystic voodoo-type zombie here. This is a real zombie rooted in a host of a virus. And that virus's job is to simply continue the virus. It wants to get as many new hosts and progress itself as best it can. And it does that through infecting new people. First thing the zombie virus does is it kills the host. This is not a living human being anymore. This is a dead, former human being. There's nothing left of that person anymore. They don't have any memories or thoughts. They're not going to recognize you if you knew them in their life. They are now just a walking viral host. Then, after death, it immediately re-triggers the brainstem here and the hypothalamus. The reason it does that is that it can get the zombie to move again. The reason it does the brainstem is because that is what controls your midbrain, your pons, and the medulla oblongata. The midbrain is what processes hearing, vision, and eye movement, and it also controls voluntary movement. So what allows the zombie to make very crude decisions as to where it's going to go. It's going to be attracted to lights and flashes. It's going to be attracted to any sort of movement that it can get to, or any sounds that are attracting this zombie. Then, the motor control is controlled by the pons. And again, this is crude motor function. This is your base animal motor function, the ability to walk, to move, to reach out. That's all it can do, and it also gives it some base sensory analysis. And then the medulla oblongata actually controls bodily functions. These are your involuntary bodily functions, such as breathing and heart rate. Now, you've heard me mention previously that they don't have a working, functioning circulatory system, but this is happening anyway, so it's trying to get the heart to pump, it's trying to get the lungs to breathe, and that explains the zombie moans, or those sounds of heavy breathing that you'll get from a zombie. It's not a voluntary thing, it's not trying to communicate with you, that's simply its bodily functions trying to work, even though it's a dead human being. And then lastly, the hypothalamus. This is what controls your thirst and hunger, your desire to eat. It tells you when you're hungry and when to eat. And in a zombie, it's actually hyperstimulated. So they have, and that's what is causing the insatiable drive to want to eat and to bite and to get at anything that it deems might be food. So, that's a bit about the zombie.